Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. On this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. We have a question here from YouTube user Philip. And Philip asked us, very useful, thank you. I think that's a comment on another video we made. Excuse me. Should one also list their demands in the opening statement? Okay, so Philip is commenting on a video about mediation opening statements. It's in our playlist about mediation preparation to help you get prepared for your mediation. Whether you're represented by counsel or not, you can still prepare. And you should be preparing with your counsel and following your counsel's directives. But it doesn't hurt to do a little extra, right? And so what Philip is asking is listen, if you're making an opening statement at a mediation, should you list your demands? And I would say, realistically, no. So what's probably going to happen is you're going to potentially deliver your opening statement. Keep it short, keep it sweet. Follow that video if you want. It's very formulaic, but it does simplify things. And just get out of there. And what's going to happen is the mediator most often is going to split the groups up into multiple rooms or multiple Zoom channels or whatever it is, right? Depending on how things happen these days. But if you're in an office, you'll probably be in different conference rooms. And if you're on Zoom, you'll be in different Zoom channels or whatever it is. And the mediator is going to bounce back and forth. So the mediator is going to come to you, and they're going to do two things. They're going to try to make you feel heard, right? Be aware. This is a tactic that mediators use to make you feel like you're getting vindicated. Like people are really listening to you, really taking you seriously, and that can help free people up to talk numbers. To talk settlement, to get to yes, is what mediators often call it. There's a book that every mediator has to read, essentially called Getting to Yes. That's, somewhat influential. And listen, there's a lot of really junk mediators. I had a professor, Professor Bush, who taught mediation, who, I can't stress enough, was apparently a talented and expert mediator, had a mediation practice that was of quality and well known. But everything this gentleman shared with me about mediation, I would sit in that class and I'd just be like, I don't think that's how humans work at all. At all. Right? That's not everything you're saying seems wrong. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of the best example I can give is you ever take a Taekwondo class? People are then you're going to kick them over their head. And you're just I don't think any of this is going to work in real life. I don't, what you're teaching me is probably not effective for combat in real life. And I remember that professor, and I would sit there and think, I don't think what you're teaching me is going to work in real life. I understand that maybe this stuff works for you. You're doing something that in your mediation practice, this works. But as I view your class here, as you teach me this feels fake. This feels like nonsense. This does not feel like human nature has been considered, and I find it to be silly, right? And he was a cool guy. He was a cool guy. I got no problem with the guy. I just don't think the class was good. He did, in all fairness, in full disclosure, he thought I was an idiot. He gave me my worst grade of law school. So, it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. He would say oh, that guy doesn't think I was effective. That guy was a moron, right? Would be his take on me. So, in fairness, you should have the fullness of the story, right? Really cool guy, though. Really likable guy. Super entertaining professor. Yeah, great dude. Great guy. Bad class. But I digress. So they're going to come in, they're going to try to make you feel heard. And then they're going to try to get a demand out of you. They're going to get your demand, and they're instantly, when they get your demand, going to try to test you and shake you a little off that demand. Okay, I will carry that demand to the other side, but you need to think about your next move, which presupposes that you're moving. Now, if you're in mediation, you probably are moving because you're there to settle, right? And I've got clients who go to mediation and are I won't settle. Okay, why are we here? Why did you want to go to mediation? Want to see the whites of their eyes. They don't care. This is an attorney who's getting paid to be here. They don't care that you want to come to mediation and not settle. It doesn't affect them. The attorney's thrilled. The attorney gets $1,600 an hour. Your employer doesn't really notice that kind of money flowing out. Like, it's not the end of the world for the employer. Like, it can be if it stacks up, but it's not enough for one day. Not a thing. So certainly have my share of those clients, and it's always like, why are we here if you don't want to settle? I don't understand. But anyways, the mediator's immediately going to be like, yeah, let's think about your next move. I'll go carry this to the other side. And they're going to leave the room and they're going to present your case. Now, you might say, why would you let the mediator have that control? You're only letting the mediator have that control for that process. And there's some level of trust. Like, you selected this mediator, presumably because you think this mediator has talent, right? I work with mediators that, listen, some of these mediators have mediated conflicts between nations. They have mediated collective bargaining agreements. They have ended strikes with their mediations. They have changed the economic course of the United States of America with their mediations. No joke. No hyperbole of any kind, right? And listen, those mediators are expensive. I should know. I'm paying for them. My clients aren't paying for them. That's for sure. I'm petting a cat. I'm not just leaning down randomly. So, you would assume that if you've agreed to work with a given mediator, that mediator has talent. If that's not what's going on, if you actually have no reason why you're working with a mediator, that's just the mediator you have, maybe you give them less trust. But personally, I don't work with junk mediators. I work with good mediators, on average. And the good mediators, you give them some trust. You let them try, and you just kind of say in your opening statement, listen, we have numbers for today, but if this goes on, if this litigates, these numbers are not going to be what we're talking. Like, the price goes up tomorrow if we don't have a deal today, because we're going to be litigating, we're going to be engaging in the cost and the pain of litigation, and our numbers are going to climb. Like, this is a one-time deal. And then you let the mediator work. And so that's probably, Philip, what I would recommend. I don't think you need to open, especially if you're presenting your own demand as the plaintiff. I would not present that demand. I would let somebody who's done many repetitions of presenting a demand, either your attorney or the mediator, present that demand. And it's not because I doubt your abilities, it's just repetitions. If you've done something 5,000 times, you're probably going to do it better on the 5,000th time than you did on the first time. Just practice, right? That's simple. And that's my recommendation for you. I hope this is helpful. Like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you. Share the video. That apparently helps our channel grow. And I will track the comments down below. I will track for additional follow-up questions so I can provide additional follow-up answers. Take care, everybody.